Finish work at 1 a.m., eat, sleep, and be on another plane by 6 a.m. Sound impossible? Well, it's the routine of many sports writers who are often the savviest travelers around. Here with the story is WSJ Middle Seat columnist Scott McCartney and WSJ sports reporter Chris Herring to explain how sports writers must master the game of extreme travel. Welcome to both of you, Scott and Chris. Scott, let me start with you. Some of the non-sports writer travelers among us can learn a thing or two from the folks you spoke with for your story. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I think that's true. These folks are business travelers. They do an extreme level of business travel and under tough conditions, and so they become very savvy travelers who have tips to offer everybody.
Absolutely. And Chris, you cover the Knicks for the Wall Street Journal, a very exciting beat. Tell us about your personal experiences with travel.
Pretty rocky, I would say. Travel 2 or 3 times a week, and normally pretty early in the morning, because most times, whereas the Knicks can fly right after their games are over and they've got chartered flights, I'm getting on commercial flights, and so I have to get up 6 in the morning or maybe earlier than that to catch a 6 a.m. flight to catch their practice the next day in another city. And then they normally have media availability right after we get there, so it can be pretty challenging.
Lots of red eyes. So how far in advance do you have to plan all these trips? I mean, you often can't plan it that far in advance. You've got to know where they're going.
I really can't.
Yeah.
And they normally give us maybe 12 to 16 hours of lead time to figure out what time they're going to practice, where they're going to practice, if I'm going to catch a cab to try to catch them, or if I'm going to rent a car to do it. It's pretty challenging.
You've got to have fast fingers on that computer screen. Now, Scott, are airlines and hotels generally friendly toward people such as sports writers who have any number of professional reasons to make and change last-minute plans?
Well, there was a time the Marriott chain gave basketball writers and other sports writers a discount and sort of hooked loyalty throughout the sports writing world on Marriott hotels. But otherwise, no. I mean, it's no different than any other travel. Sports writers figure out, like a lot of us, that status with a particular airline makes a huge difference in your travel. So they pick whichever airline makes the most sense for the cities they typically go, and try and get that elite status.